communal fire.
A Savarkar poster has resulted in blood being spilt. That's how polarized poll-bound Karnataka really is. What are the limits to this polarization? Why are the communal temperatures so high in a state that goes to the polls just 8 months from now? I'm Shiv Aroor. We'll be taking you straight to Shivamogga for a live report on a terrifying situation that exploded yesterday in that district. I'm Shiv Aroor. This is 5 Live. These are the headlines first. Another Kashmiri Pandit murdered in Shopian district. 45-year-old Sunil Bhatt shot by Pakistani terrorists. Victim's brother injured. Family claims mega security lapse.
जब हमारा वाक़ा हुआ मेरे भाई के साथ, मैं 4 बार ड्यूकॉम के पास गया, डीसी के पास गया। उन्होंने एक बात ही हमारी नहीं सुना, बोला अपने गांव में बैठो, उधरी मारो, उधरी करो अपना काम। इसीलिए आज हमें ये देखना पड़ा कौन सी सिक्योरिटी है, यही सिक्योरिटी रखी हमें यहाँ।
Indo-Tibetan border police bus carrying 37 jawans and 2 policemen plunges into a river in Kashmir. 7 dead, 30 injured in the accident. 8 jawans with serious injuries airlifted to Srinagar for medical treatment. Karnataka Minister Madhuswamy's audio clip on government functioning triggers a big controversy. Madhuswamy caught on tape saying that the BJP government is just managing things till the 2023 assembly election. Team Nitish Kumar takes over in Bihar. 33 ministers, including Lalu's son Tej Pratap, sworn in. Depleted Congress gets only 2 berths. Big India Today exclusive in a mega provocation to India. China sends spy ship to Lankan port despite objections by New Delhi. The situation continues to be tense in Shivamogga district of Karnataka after a poster war. Savarkar posters, Tipu Sultan posters, 4 people arrested, 1 person stabbed, 1 person shot. That's the level of violence and tension that has gripped Shivamogga over a Savarkar poster that was put up by a Hindu group. 4 youth have been arrested. One of them has had a hand in communal actions in the past, including the hurling of slippers at a Ganesh procession. So this is a communally charged situation that has resulted from the erection of a Savarkar poster in the Gandhinagar area of Shivamogga. That is what is happening right now. Tension continues to prevail in the district. Prohibitory orders have been clamped down. There's some breaking news coming in from there now. More escalation in the showdown over the Savarkar poster in Shivamogga. After the one in Shivamogga, another Savarkar fight has broken out in Tumakuru near Bengaluru. Another Savarkar hoarding has been vandalized, sparking tensions in the area. A Savarkar hoarding has been torn in Karnataka's Tumakuru, obviously in a provocative counter amidst a communally escalating situation in the state over Savarkar posters. Remember, we've promoted this show on Savarkar posters spilling blood. That is precisely what has happened in Shivamogga, and now some vandalism has taken place in Tumakuru as well. Take a look.
ಆ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ಗಳ ಪೈಕಿ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಅವರ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಶೋಕ್ ರೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಶಾಲೆ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು. ಇದನ್ನು ಯಾರೋ ಕಿಡಿಗೇಡಿಗರು ಅದನ್ನು ಇದನ್ನು ಅವ್ರ ಫೋಟೋನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಟು ಇವತ್ತು ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ನಿನ್ನೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸಸ್ನು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಅವರು. ಇವರು ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೋ ಅವರು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಟು ಜನರ ಪ್ರೊವೋಕ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರಿಗೆ ಫ್ರೀ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾರದ್ದು ಏನು ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂಥ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಇಂಥದ್ದು ಬಿಡಿ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರು ಅಪರಾಧ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಬಂಧಿಸಲೇಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರು ನಿರಾಧಾರವಾಗಿ ಅನಾವಶ್ಯಕವಾಗಿ ಅಮಾಯಕರನ್ನ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ.
And here's what happened in Shivamogga. It's really, really frightening to think that a Savarkar poster, Veer Savarkar poster that was erected in one particular part of Shivamogga has resulted in a stabbing, a shooting and 4 men arrested. Take a look at what happened.
The communal cauldron keeps spilling over in Karnataka. In the latest violent showdown in Shivamogga, clashes broke out between Tipu and Savarkar supporters, and a 20-year-old man was stabbed repeatedly. Nadeem, Zabiullah, Rahman, Tanveer. These are the 4 men arrested for stabbing Prem Singh in Karnataka's Shivamogga. The 4 accused were arrested by the Shivamogga police and named as the main conspirators in the violence that rocked the district on Independence Day.
Nadeem, in 2016 there was an incident, a communal incident in which some sleepers were thrown on the Ganesha procession. So Nadeem happens to be accused in that case. So he has got the past history of being involved in communal incident.
4 accused persons have been arrested, and in the meantime there was firing in self-defense by our sub-inspector. So one person's leg has been injured and he's been admitted to the hospital.
The showdown on the streets of Shivamogga was prompted by posters of Savarkar being put up. Attempts were made by Tipu Sultan protesters to remove the Savarkar pictures and paste Tipu images instead. The victim's family, however, maintains he had nothing to do with the poster fight and was targeted for his religion.
उसको कुछ भी मालूम नहीं है, उसको कन्नड़ा भी आता नहीं है, उसको कुछ भी नहीं है. वो तो दुकान बंद करके घर पे आ रहा था. ये टारगेट खाली ओनली फॉर हिंदू को हो रहा है इधर.
Prohibitory orders remain in place in Shivamogga as authorities kept a strict vigil on the situation on ground.
The police are carrying out the flag march in the Gandhi Bazaar area, a very sensitive area in the city, and trying to make sure that there is peace and order, there's harmony, there are no untoward incidents, and the law and order in the city is in check.
Meanwhile, the political blame game over the communal clashes has heated up as the Congress has fired at the Bommai government over the rise in communal crimes in Karnataka.
What is happening in Shivamogga reflects an utter failure of the Chief Minister and the law and order situation in the state.
The BJP meanwhile has claimed that the Congress is directly involved in the poster war and also alleged an SDPI hand in the clashes.
हमारा सभी इडीच शिवमोगा लोगों को बहुत गुस्सा आया है. क्या कर रहा है ये लोग ऐसा? इसलिए मेरा ये मुसलमान लोगों में कौन सीनियर्स है उसको मैं रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ. आपका यूथ राष्ट्रद्रोही काम वो कौन कर रहा है, उनके ऊपर आप उनको क्या बोलना बोलो. नहीं तो ये हिंदू समाज है और पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट है, उनको क्या हम सिखाना है हम सीखेंगे.
ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನರು ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಮ್ದು ತಕರಾರಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನ್ ಏರಿಯಾಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು? ಆಯ್ತು, ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ಟಿಪ್ಪು ಸುಲ್ತಾನ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಸಾವರ್ಕರ್ ಫೋಟೋ ಫೋಟೋ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಮೊದಲು ಕಿತಾಪತಿ ಮಾಡೋರು ಇವರು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಏನು ಸಂಬಂಧ?
Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, however, is being very measured with his words, refusing to jump the gun while the investigation is underway.
ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಥರ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ನಡೆಯುವಾಗ ನಾವು ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸರಿಯಲ್ಲ. ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನು ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆದ ಕ್ಷಣದಿಂದ ಆದೇಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಪೊಲೀಸರು ತಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
After the murder of BJP worker Praveen Nettaru in Dakshin Kannada and now this incident of a Hindu man being stabbed, the Bommai government is facing fire from right-wing groups as well.
देशद्रोही टीपू सुल्तान का फोटो लगाकर अमृत महोत्सव मनाने यानी प्रचोदन यानी दंगा करने का ही इरादा इनके मुसलमान युवकों के मन में था। एसडीपीआई पीएफआई संगठन इन्होंने ही किया है, तो ये संगठनों को मैं कहता हूं एनकाउंटर करना चाहिए, देशद्रोही है ये।
The situation is calm on the ground, but prohibitory orders remain in place. The investigation is also underway to nab all those involved in the communal violence. But questions loom as to why there's a sudden spurt in such incidents in the past few months and who is instigating both the sides. With camera person Shivamogga Gurumat, this is Priyanka Rudrappa for India Today.
I want to go across now to India Today's Priyanka Rudrappa, who's in Shivamogga. She, in fact, has the ADGP of the Karnataka Police, Alok Kumar, with her. Priyanka, what's the situation? What is the police assessing? And where is the investigation right now? Priyanka, over to you.
The situation is under control at the moment. However, prohibitory orders are in place. I have with me ADGP Alok Kumar. Sir, what is the update with the case and what measures are being taken at the moment so that no untoward incidents take place?
All four accused persons in the case have been arrested, and one person he is in the hospital. And now we are taking them into police custody, and after that we are going to question them thoroughly. And so far as the situation is concerned, the situation is peaceful right now. But Section 144 CRPC that is in place in Shivamogga and Bhadravati town, and proper bandobast has been made. The officers from outside district, they have been drawn, and even range DIG and other officers of SP rank and other ranks, they are there. One RF company is also there. In the morning we have conducted route march, and again we are going to conduct route march. So to instill confidence among citizens, we are taking all appropriate measures, and we are ensuring that no untoward incident takes place today.
The accused 4 people have been arrested in connection with the case. Have any links been established to the organization they belong to?
No, right now, see, we need to question them thoroughly. Right now, we need to ask them. They have been just arrested last night, and after that, formalities that is being done. And once they are in police custody, then we'll question them thoroughly about their background, about their connections, about their any leanings with any organization. So all those aspects will be probed into.
That was ADGP Alok Kumar, who said that all precautionary measures are being taken by the police here in order to make sure that the law and order is in check. So far, 4 people have been arrested in connection with the incident. However, no link has been established so as to the organization they belong to. The police say that they're trying to investigate considering all angles. Out of the 4 people, Nadeem, one of the accused, has been identified as someone who is a habitual offender as well. Nadeem is someone who was involved in the communal clashes which took place in Shivamogga in 2016. When communal clashes broke out during Ganesh Chaturthi processions here, Nadeem was found to be the one who hurled slippers at the procession, which led to communal clashes here. However, all the other 2 more people seem to have a clean record, and one more person, they tried to catch him, and when he was fleeing, he was shot on the ground as well. So far, 4 people have been arrested. The situation so far seems to be under control right now. People are moving around freely. However, prohibitory orders are in place.
Okay, Priyanka, stay safe. Thanks very much for getting us that live report. The police says that the 4 individuals who've been arrested will all be interrogated today. One of them is a history sheeter who's been wanted in an earlier crime as well. We'll keep track of that story very, very closely. Now let's show you Karnataka's communal cauldron that's been on the boil nearly constantly since the beginning of this year. And India Today had broken that first story. Well, here's what we're talking about. In June 2022, this year, violent clashes over Tipu Sultan and Savarkar posters also happened in June this year. In May, the government issued guidelines on the Azan loudspeaker. The government directed institutions to avail a license for the use of loudspeakers. In May, the government panel modified class 1 to 10 textbooks with Hedgewar chapters added and Tipu Sultan chapters dropped. This caused a lot of controversy. In April this year, Hindu groups demanded the boycott of halal meat. Hindu groups protested against halal meat traders as well. That became a political issue. April, schools undertaking mandates for Bibles for students. Hindu groups called it a violation of the Education Act. Same month in April, no Muslim vendors and traders were allowed in Hindu temple fairs. The government defended the decision using legal grounds at that time. In January this year, a story that India Today broke and became one of the biggest stories of the year, no hijabs and burqas were allowed in educational institutions in Karnataka. This happened in Udupi. The High Court upheld the government guidelines. So starting from January this year all the way till now in August, it's been one polarizing headline after another in poll-bound Karnataka, where elections take place in just 8 months from now. A short while ago, I had a chance to catch up with the Karnataka Congress State Chief DK Shivakumar on what he thinks about what's happened in Shivamogga, the continuous polarization and preparations for the upcoming elections. Listen in, this is an exclusive. And on this big unfolding story in Shivamogga district of Karnataka, where restrictions have been imposed, Section 144 has been imposed as well. Joining us live is State Congress President DK Shivakumar. Shivakumar sir, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your time. Political blame game, sir, has broken out. Before I come to the politics, your opening comments, your view of what has taken place in Shivamogga as you understand it, sir.
Shivamogga, what is taking place is not right. I blame both of them. Both of them are responsible. They are just creating a bad atmosphere in the entire state. No investors will come. BJP is trying to have its political gain. Initially, the Chief Minister promoted moral policing, and the minister, ex-minister there, Ishwarappa, he made a big right. No cases was being registered against him when a death of a worker was being done, and ultimately the other section also tried to plan. So whatever is there, the law has to take it down. The government is supporting only the one section of the society. They are not seeing that the constitution belongs to everyone. But whoever does wrong, whoever has taken the law into their hands, whoever has a criminal act, they should be punished, according to me.
So the BJP,
mercilessly.
The BJP is pointing a finger at the Congress party. Are you saying that the BJP is responsible, sir, for what has happened?
It is the BJP's government. BJP has to handle this. It is the BJP's duty, government duty. They have failed in it. There is no law and order in the state.
One of the accused who's been arrested among the four, Mr. Shivakumar, is known to be a history sheeter. He's been in, these controversies in the past. A few years ago, he had thrown a shoe at a Ganesha procession as well. Are you saying both sides are responsible or only one, sir?
Let anyone do a blunder, let anyone do wrong. The law has to take it to force. We don't want to protect anyone. We are not with anyone. We don't want to side anyone. The law has to be protected. Peace has to be restored.
What are you saying to the government in Karnataka, sir? The Home Minister of Karnataka has now dashed to Shivamogga, where restrictions have been imposed in the city right now. Are you saying that the government is not doing enough? Because the Congress is saying that the government is responsible, actively responsible for this incident. Not negligence, but complicity.
Yes. Including the minister, Home Minister himself had given such dirty statement earlier. He said that even the police people are taking the bribes and they are not acting well. He said that common man should not have walked when there was a rape. All these things, the sitting Home Minister, and he is from the same district, he could not manage well. And he is showing a party line. He is not a Home Minister. He is acting like a party worker there. That is the biggest problem with that entire belt.
All of this has taken place on August the 15th, sir, our Independence Day. Do you think there's a deeper conspiracy? We keep hearing about groups like PFI, SDPI being responsible for certain, provocative incidents of this kind. Do you think that is the case here, sir? Because every time something like this happens, a finger is pointed at these groups.
See, we conducted a very big freedom march where more than lakhs of people,
Yes.
nearly more than 2 lakh and odd people participated in it. They wanted to disturb it. We had decided in Rajasthan, Chintan Shivar, to have this great movement, and we conducted. So the BJP and other people could not digest this, so they just tried to create a confusion by using all this type of people. But ultimately, the people turned out. They came, they participated in this historic freedom march, and it was a great event for the country. We did it for the sake of this unifying this our country and the youngsters.
DK sir, in 2018 we remember seeing a Hanuman procession versus the Tipu Sultan celebrations. This year we're seeing, for now we're seeing Veer Savarkar versus Tipu Sultan. Do you think this is all linked, sir, to the upcoming elections? Atmosphere being created before the upcoming elections, sir?
Nothing. Let they create anything, let they do anything. Last year also they did this. They used Tipu and everything, but we don't want it to involve it. We don't want. Our line is for peace for the state, progress of the state, development of the state, good governance for the state. We don't want to use all this. Let BJP do whatever they want. We are only focused on the historic legacy what Karnataka administration has. We have to see that it has been maintained, which has been lost. The state has gone back more than 20 years. Now we want to bring back the glory of Karnataka on all fields.
Is this polarization, in your view, sir, just two more questions, this polarization which has dominated this year in Karnataka, it started with the hijab controversy, then we saw halal, then we saw azan, then we saw the Muslim traders. We've seen several other incidents also about Hanuman Chalisa, etc. And now we're seeing this. It seems like it's a pattern, sir.
Sir, the BJP is losing its base. They doesn't want to look at development. They could not promise what they had promised in the manifesto. They could not deliver their promises. They have gone back. People are not accepting it. Even the COVID also was the biggest corruption. 40% corruption has become a big standard here. So in order to close all those issues, they are taking up this polarization issue, which was nowhere. And with this, they feel that they can win the election. That is what BJP is doing.
I know that the Congress is putting a lot of pressure on the Bommai government as the opposition. Do you believe Mr. Bommai himself as the Chief Minister is under pressure from within his party, as recent reports have suggested? Sir, last question to you.
No, see, he could not deliver what was being promised by the BJP party and the manifesto. Ultimately, he has failed in all fours. The minister himself, as yesterday, as you rightly seen, that Mr. Madheswamy himself has agreed that they are trying to push the government, not pull on the government. They are pushing the government to see that they complete their term. I think that they will be successful. And what is going on the corruption issue also, he has been accepted on the tape speaking to a worker. He himself has had to pay some bribe to see this, to settle that issue. That is what he has come out on that issue.
Is polarization going to be one of the big planks on which the Congress approaches this election, sir? Only 8 months to go for the Karnataka election. Is this polarization going to be one of the issues on which you are fighting this election?
Yes. That they are trying to do this polarization, but I think people are very enlightened people in Karnataka. They will not go to this circumstance. They will look at the peace of the state, they look at the development of the state, they look at the employment problem which has to be sorted out. I think that the Congress will do a better job than the BJP. We have confidence that we will convince the people of Karnataka, we will give a good administration and governance.
Sir, one final question, sir, because, since I have your attention, DK, sir, the audio clip that is doing the rounds of Madhuswamy, you know, the BJP versus BJP, the internal audio clip that has gone viral. What are your comments on that, sir? Because it has added to a great deal of speculation about what's going on within the party.
No, whatever he is saying is right. Whatever Madhuswamy has spoken is right. He's a very senior man, experienced man, a long legislator in the BJP and anti-Congress party. With his experience, he has said the right thing. There is nothing wrong in it. What he is telling is wrong. It is a known fact in the state of Karnataka.
Do you believe that Mr. Bommai is going to be replaced as the chief minister before the election, sir?
I don't want to involve with their political activities. Let they keep him or let they change him. It is left to them. We are least bothered about it.
DK
Shivakumar, we are very sorry that Karnataka is taking a very bad shape.
Okay. DK Shivakumar, thank you very much, sir, for your time, and thank you for speaking to India Today. That was DK Shivakumar, State Congress President of Karnataka, at a time when there is a great deal of turmoil in the state that goes to elections just 8 months from now. And meanwhile, a big BJP versus BJP showdown has erupted in the same state of Karnataka 8 months before the elections. After Law Minister Madhuswamy's alleged audio clip slamming his own government, the Bommai government, was leaked and went viral, Horticulture Minister Muniratna has sought the minister's resignation. So chaos in the BJP government in Karnataka. Madhuswamy, who was speaking to a person in this audio clip, hears out a complaint saying the minister concerned, S.T. Somashekar, to whose notice this complaint had been brought, had done nothing about it. In the alleged audio clip of Madhuswamy, he reportedly also says that the government is not functioning, but only managing and drifting along as elections are due in the next 8 months. Chief Minister Bommai has brushed aside Madhuswamy's conversation, defending him, saying his statement has been misunderstood. The Congress, however, has latched on, slammed the BJP, saying that their own minister is spilling the truth about the Bommai government and that the reality is finally out there. The Bommai government is on shaky ground, with Mr. Bommai himself having a certain degree of uncertainty over whether he will continue as chief minister.
ಸರ್, ಇದು VSSN ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 50,000 ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ರೈತರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ರಿನ್ಯೂವಲ್ಗೆ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 1,300 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನವರೇ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳೇ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅವರೇ ಫುಲ್ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ನ ಕಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆ 1,300 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬಡ್ಡಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಲ್ ಓವರ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲೇ.
ಏನಪ್ಪ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು.
ಹೌದು ಸರ್,
ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಸೋಮಶೇಖರ್ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಸರ್,
ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಹೊಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ತಿಂತಾವ್ರೆ, ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ತಗರ್ತಾವ್ರೆ, ಅದ್ರೂ ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿಸ್ಕೊಂತಾವ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್,
ಅವ್ರೇನೋ ಕ್ರಮ ಜರುಗಿಸ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ನಮ್ಗೆ.
ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ಏನೋ ಒಂಥರ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಒಂಥರ ಮಂಗಗಳ ತರ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟವ್ರ ಸರ್ ಇವರು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನವರು.
ನಾನೇ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮರ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಶೇರ್ ರೈತರು ಅಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್,
ನನ್ ತೋಲೆ ತಗೊಂಡವ್ರಿ.
ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂಥರ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇದು ನೋಡಕ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ.
ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಸರ್,
ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾಕಿ 8 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಂತ
ಸರ್
ಸಲ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು ಕಣಪ್ಪ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಾವು
ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಕಂಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟೇ ಬೇರೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ತಪ್ಪು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು 3 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದ ಆ ಕೋಆಪರೇಟಿವ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ವಿಷಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಏನೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಸೆಟಲ್ಡ್.
ಸ್ವಾಮಿದೇನಾಗಿದೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮೇಧಾವಿಗಳಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬನೇ ಮೇಧಾವಿ, ನಾನೊಬ್ಬನೇ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟು, ನಾನೊಬ್ಬನೇ ತಿಳಿದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅವ್ರ ತಲೆಗೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗಿದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟು ಅದನ್ನು ಅವರ ತಲೆಯಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದಾಕ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ದೊಡ್ಡದಿದೆ, ಮಂತ್ರಿಮಂಡಲದಲ್ಲೂ ಅನುಭವ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಮೇಧಾವಿ ಸಚಿವರು ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಸರಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
ಸರ್ಕಾರ ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಕೂಡಲೇ ಸಚಿವ ಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಆ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ, ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಅಂಶದಲ್ಲೂ ಅವರು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾರ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಪಾಲ್ದಾರರಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಸಹ ಆ ಮಾತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ವಯಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯುತ ಸ್ಥಾನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಮಾತನಾಡೋದು ಬಹಳ ತಪ್ಪು.
Whatever is going on, they are trying to push the government. The government is a bit stalled. Whatever the corruption issue also has come up. It's nothing hidden secret. It is an open mind. And as you rightly know that it has become a corruption capital of this country. And what minister has spoken is right. Asking the minister, other minister resignation, he himself is also under a cloud. Recently the Lokayukta fined him, he said that about, yes, he misused about hundreds of crores of rupees in his constituency without any bills he has been drawn. That is the report the Lokayukta has been given. So I think what Mr. Muniratna is saying is not right. He himself is in the cloud. And what Mr. Madhuswamy has spoken is right.
ಈಗ ಅದು ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬಹಿರಂಗವಾಗಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್. ತಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಹೆಂಗೋ ಸರ್ಕಾರನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸತ್ಯ.
And this BJP versus BJP controversy has only intensified now. Karnataka Law Minister Madhuswamy says he's ready to resign over the big controversy over his audio clip. Madhuswamy, the minister, says will resign if it benefits the party. He says if the party removes me, I will happily go. His viral audio clip has landed the BJP government in Karnataka in a fresh spot of political controversy over him saying that the government is simply drifting along till the elections and that all is not well. Take a listen.
ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಬಿಡ್ರಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಹೋಗ್ರಿಂದ ಸುಮ್ಮ ಬತ್ತಿ ಊರಿಗೆ, ಹೊಲ ಮನೆ ತೋಟ ಇಲ್ವೇನು? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ CM ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರ? CM ಏಕ್ರಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಾನು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಡಿ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ವಿನ್ಸ್ ಆಗೋರಪ್ಪ. ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಪ CM ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ದದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವ್ಯಾಕೆ ಉಟ್ಕೊಂಬೋದ್ರಪ್ಪ? ಧಾರಾಳವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗದಾದ್ರೆ, ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗದಾದ್ರೆ ನಾನು 2 ಕ್ಷಣನೂ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು.
Sagai Raj is with me live from Bengaluru on this. Sagai, is Madhuswamy in any trouble? Because even Chief Minister Bommai has come out to defend him, even though his words are quite embarrassing for the government.
See, what we get to learn through party sources is that they will probably summon him and question him on this particular statement that was being made by Madhuswamy. C.T. Ravi, the National General Secretary, when he spoke about this, he went on to say that he doesn't want to make any comment. And we will try to discuss about this within the party to address this issue. Probably he might be given a disciplinary notice on this particular issue. And remember, Madhuswamy is not someone new for these kind of controversial statements. Even in past, he had spoke similarly and brought a lot of embarrassment to the party. So keeping all these things in mind, we need to wait and watch whether the government will take any kind of stringent action against him.
Thanks, Sagai, for getting us the latest on that. Whether Madhuswamy is axed from the government or not, we don't know just yet, but he certainly has embarrassed the Bommai Sarkar in Karnataka. We're taking a very quick break. On the other side of this break, we've got world exclusive coverage coming up of the war clouds over Taiwan. India Today's Gaurav Sawant has landed in Taipei, and we're going to get you a full view of the Chinese spy ship that has just docked in Sri Lanka, posing a big security threat to India. All of that coming up next.
Will the falling rupee badly impact the Indian economy? Should India ban trade in cryptocurrencies? To know the answer of several such other questions, read the latest edition of India Today's exclusive Mood of the Nation poll. Subscribe to India Today magazine now.
There's a security alarm over southern India over a Chinese spy vessel, this one, that has just docked in Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, which was leased to a Chinese merchant company for 99 years in 2017. Now, here's the problem. India had specifically objected that this ship was being brought for spying and espionage purposes on India's maritime activities. And despite that, Sri Lanka has allowed this Chinese ship to dock in one of its ports. Take a look at this report. Bullying Taiwan with its missiles and fighter jets, needling India along the line of actual control in the Himalayas, and now China has turned to a mega sea espionage bid. Its aim to spy on India's maritime activities. China has sent a surveillance ship Yuan Wang 5 to dock in Sri Lanka's Hambantota port, overlooking concerns raised by India. The Yuan Wang 5 is one of China's latest generation space tracking ships used to monitor satellites, rockets and intercontinental ballistic missile launches, operating in the garb of maritime research and surveillance. India is worried that the spy ship can snoop on its military installations and bases, making the Navy and nuclear bases in South India like Kalpakkam and Kudankulam vulnerable. Several ports in South India could also be under the snooping radar. The Chinese ship may also snoop on rocket and missile launch centers in Chandipur in the integrated test range off the east coast of Odisha.
Barely 24 hours after India gifted Sri Lanka a maritime reconnaissance and surveillance aircraft Dornier, Colombo permitted a Chinese spy ship to dock at Hambantota. Now, this Chinese vessel is capable of mapping not just the ocean floor, but also tracking movement of long-range missiles and satellites. In times of conflict, a cause for grave concern.
Sri Lanka, caught in a Chinese debt trap, has handed over a majority share of the Hambantota port with a 99-year lease to a Chinese merchant company in 2017.
No, we are not placating China. I don't think that is the case. We have simply asked India and the United States, who in fact, as was said before, raised some concerns, but then we asked, give us concrete reasons for the ship not to be in Hambantota, and there were no concrete reasons given. And under our conventions that we have signed up, the Maritime Convention, various other laws of the sea that we have signed up, we cannot refuse a ship which is asking for replenishments and docking in Sri Lanka. So,
India has asserted that it will take all measures to shield its installations from the snooping eyes of the Chinese vessel.
Sri Lanka once again permitted them to dock this ship at Hambantota, but assured the government of India and the Americans that while the ship is docked there, they will not permit them to undertake any research activity whatsoever. They are there only for refuel. Only time will tell what was the actual purpose for which they stayed there.
India continues to court Sri Lanka by handing over maritime assets, recently giving a Dornier 228 maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft to Lanka to reaffirm bilateral security ties. With Gaurav Sawant in Taipei, Taiwan, Bureau Report, India Today. Now let's tell you why precisely India had objected to this ship being docked in Lanka and what the capabilities of this ship is. Is this Chinese vessel seriously a threat? Well, make up your own mind. It has a state-of-the-art tracking technology, is one of the newest generation tracking ships of the Chinese Navy. It can be used for transoceanic aerospace observation using satellite links. It's known for its excellent record in space and satellite tracking. It's been used for many, many months now. It can track the launch of satellites. It can track rocket launches, and very importantly, it can also track the launch of intercontinental ballistic missiles. So this is a strategic capability vessel. It can also send information to tracking stations in Beijing or other parts of China. So the Chinese defense system is plugged into what this ship can actually see. Now, India's concerns of this Chinese vessel is that it has the capability and the range to spy and keep tabs not just visually but otherwise, on strategic military establishments and nuclear establishments of India in the peninsular area. China can collect information about India's military bases in the peninsula, navy and nuclear submarine bases in South India, including nuclear facilities like Kalpakkam and Kudankulam, could also be within the range of this ship. Ports in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh will also be within range of this Chinese ship's radar. ISRO's launch center on the east coast, the integrated missile testing range where India tests all of its missiles in Chandipur on the coast of Odisha, are all within range of this ship and can potentially be tracked very, very closely because it has advanced centers. Gaurav Sawant, our managing editor, the first Indian reporter to land in Taipei, in Taiwan, where war clouds have been darkening over the last many, many months. He's in Taiwan right now. He's going to be reporting on that. But I'm going to him live now on the situation as far as this ship is concerned. Gaurav, despite India's objections, this ship has been permitted by Lanka to dock at Hambantota. How are you seeing this? And how do you think India will or should react to this, Gaurav?
Shiv, this clearly is a cause for grave concern. Why is this a cause for concern? You've listed out the ability of the ship, not just to map in the skies and space, but also under sea. With its sonars, it can map the ocean floor. Now, submarine movement, and that is China's Achilles heel in the Indian Ocean region. And this is where India's submarines are lurking. Just when China enters the Malacca Straits, we watch every Chinese ship and submarine that enters the Indian Ocean region all the way, till it exits the Indian Ocean region. But once it maps the ocean floor, it also knows where Indian submarines could be lurking or where its submarines then can lurk. So it's a cause for concern. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka is in the Chinese debt trap. Hambantota port has been leased out to China. So India objected. And Shiv, India's concerns and objections, India and the United States, has a reason. Now it's for replenishment. It's for a week, they say. 5 days initially, then 6 days, they said. Next time it could be 10 days. Next time it could be berthed there longer.
Yes.
Next time more military ships could come in. And then China, like Gwadar, could try and establish a military base, in this region. And that is why India is warning Sri Lanka, don't fall into the trap. Pakistan is already in China's debt trap. Gwadar has been lost. Karachi may be lost. China-Pakistan economic corridor is a disaster. Sri Lanka could well be next.
Well, Sri Lanka, a country that has completely collapsed, has disobeyed and overlooked an objection from India. That's something to think about there. Gaurav, stay with me. Gaurav, the first Indian reporter in Taipei, Taiwan, the island that is holding out defiantly against China, especially amidst what has been happening there in recent weeks, including the arrival of a US legislator team, which was preceded by Nancy Pelosi, the US House of Representatives Speaker, that caused a huge furor. The China-Taiwan tension continues. After 12 days since Pelosi's visit, a US congressional delegation landed in Taipei over the weekend for a 2-day visit which concluded on August the 15th. While tensions had begun to simmer, the second US visit to Taiwan has sent China escalating things once again. Military drills in and around Taiwan have been amped up. China's foreign ministry spokesperson has accused the US of trying to change the One China policy. In another retaliation today, China announced sanctions on 7 pro-independence Taiwanese politicians and officials, including Taipei's representative in Washington in the United States.
中方再次敦促美方恪守一个中国原则和中美3个联合公报规定，慎重妥善处理涉台问题，停止在虚化、掏空、歪曲一个中国原则的错误道路上越走越远，以免对中美关系和台海和平稳定造成进一步损害。
Just as we entered Taiwan, the moment we got off the aircraft, the first thing that was done was we were told to take a Taiwan chip, a mobile phone SIM card. Now that is used by Taiwan to track all guests, especially as a COVID prevention mechanism. Then there was an RT-PCR test done at the airport itself. This is the sticker that was put on my t-shirt which said quarantine Taiwan, and this is an indicator that we came into this country by air. and immediately 2 self-testing COVID kits were also handed. We were told that you keep testing yourself after 24 hours. Now we've spent about 24 hours in Taiwan. We are waiting for the RT-PCR test report. Confined to a room. Meals are provided to you there. One stool where the meal is kept, and the other is a dustbin where you put everything else. And this is not just my room, but all guests at this hotel. You notice nobody can step out. There are CCTV cameras here that monitor you. You open this and there is, well, some kind of green peas, noodles, carrots, chicken and egg. So and I see some greens, some kind of spinach. So that's a meal. There's also, of course, once there's juice in 24 hours, and then it's almost like being at, I mean, it is being at a quarantine center. So it's almost like being in a hospital where you're confined to your room. Come what may, you can watch events as they happen outside. You speak to people on phone, but you can't step out of your room.
And I want to go back to Gaurav, who's in that quarantine center in Taipei. Obviously, India Today follows all protocols. The only Indian channel reporting from there. Gaurav, you'll be out of that quarantine center in no time. But while you're there, you've been tracking everything that's been happening around the island. Obviously, things are tense, even though on the face of it, it's business as usual in Taiwan. But this time, especially after that US congressional team landed in the city that you're in right now, Taipei, over the weekend, those temperatures have risen again, Gaurav.
Risen sharply, Shiv. Again, military exercises. China's Eastern Theater, they've announced a series of war drills, live firing exercises, their aircraft, their ships, their submarines. In fact, when you talk about the aircraft, the Taiwan Defense Ministry said in the past 24 hours, 30 Chinese aircraft, including 8 Su-30s, a couple of Chang'e J-17s and J-16s and J-11s, they crossed the median line. As soon as Taiwan launched their air force, the Chinese aircraft turned back. Same happened with the Chinese warships. They crossed the median line in the Taiwan Strait, but the moment Taiwanese ships came, they went back. Again, we are told that in some areas closer to China, China's actually announced, and this is what Taiwan says is psychological warfare. They are saying that their exercises are very, very close to these islands. Shiv, a real fear in Taiwan is that one of the islands, which is extremely close to mainland China, 100 dredgers in the Taiwan Strait, they are pushing so much sand that China will be able to, in the years to come, actually build a track all the way from Chinese mainland to the island. And then instead of coming by ship, they'll be able to come by land. That's an apprehension. That's a fear. So this China setting a new normal by crossing the median, by live fire military exercises, by missiles flying overhead. That's a cause for grave concern. As the White House said, it's like boiling the frog in a pot. The temperatures improving every day.
Gaurav has been in Ukraine earlier this year, and then he was in Sri Lanka, and now he's in Taipei. Wherever the conflict is, Gaurav's going to be there, giving you a first-hand pair of eyes as the world continues to change and the biggest threats facing the world today. Gaurav's special coverage from Taiwan starts today, and it will continue right through this week. Gaurav, stay safe. We'll keep coming back to you. Thanks for joining us on that live report. Well, that's a wrap on 5 Live, but I want to leave you with this story in a big setback and a blow to Indian football. FIFA, the apex football body, has announced the suspensions of the All India Football Federation with immediate effect. FIFA has also stripped India of its chance to host the Under-17 Women's World Cup and suspended Indian football with immediate effect. It means that Indian national football team will not be able to play any international games until the ban is removed. The centre has even moved the Supreme Court, seeking an urgent hearing in the matter. FIFA says the decision has been taken due to undue influence from third parties, which constitutes a serious violation of the FIFA statutes. FIFA is also assessing its next steps with regard to the tournament and will refer to the matter to the Bureau of the Council if and when necessary. So a big, big blow to Indian football with this ban by FIFA.
I think it is very humiliating for the entire footballing fraternity of India, and this is not the way we should go ahead. We should understand that FIFA worldwide doesn't accept any third-party intervention in the administration of football, and I think the court and COA has to understand that the court has to take necessary action to immediately remove any intervention from COA or from the court and let AIFF function independently.
And coming up next with Pooja, one of the biggest stories of the day, another Kashmiri Pandit murdered in Kashmir's Shopian district. 45-year-old Sunil Bhatt shot by Pakistani terrorists. His outraged, grieving family has called this an unforgivable security lapse. Big special coverage with Pooja coming up next.
Another targeted killing in the Kashmir Valley. The jihadists this time have struck at 45-year-old Sunil Kumar Bhatt. In the past 2 years, from 2020 to now 2022, 13 Hindu civilians have been specifically targeted, starting from Makhanlal Bindru, Rakesh Pandit, Ajay Kumar Bharti to now Sunil Kumar Bhatt. Remember, for the minuscule minority of less than 1% of Hindus now residing in the Kashmir Valley and in the Muslim-dominated regions, the fear of the minority is writ large. Many are wondering, what next for them? I bring you the latest on that at 6 p.m. Prime on India Today with me, Pooja Shali. Do not miss.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
Killing in the Kashmir Valley. The jihadists this time have struck at 45-year-old Sunil Kumar Bhatt. In the past 2 years, from 2020 to now 2022, 13 Hindu civilians have been specifically targeted, starting from Makhanlal Bindru, Rakesh Pandit, Ajay Kumar Bharti to now Sunil Kumar Bhatt. Remember, for the minuscule minority of less than 1% of Hindus now residing in the Kashmir Valley and in the Muslim-dominated regions, the fear of the minority is writ large. Many are wondering, what next for them? I bring you the latest on that at 6 p.m. prime on India Today with me, Pooja Shali. Do not miss.
Co-presented by PolicyBazaar.com in association with LIC, हर पल आपके साथ।